Welcome back to the Bearfoot studio, and I'm joined by...
Ben.
You actually have your own YouTube channel?
Ish, yeah. I've got a little channel, very little, called Heresy Junkie, where I just talk randomly about Heresy and put little painting videos and things like that on. So
yeah, and you might actually be watching this video on the Heresy
on the channel,
Junkie.
yeah. You may be one of my 500 Russian bots.
Yeah, and in that case, I have a YouTube channel. In which, so like, we'll link both channels.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and you can follow it that way.
It's all sorted. So yeah, Ben you do a load of painting videos, don't you?
I do, yeah. Painting and sort of like, it's pretty much all Dark Angels at the moment, but it'll be mech focused going forward because.
What is it, like next month or the month after?
This August. It's out this month.
So there we go.
Excitement.
Yeah.
Phil will be happy.
Yeah, because he can finally start winning some Heresy games. And we're going to go over the Dark Angels Legion rule today, of which Ben is an expert. I am not, because this is like the educating Max.
Yeah, it's kind of I'd say expert as in I've read the pages, which is one step up from where you are. Yeah.
How many games did you win at the
5
Not Throne of Skulls? Yeah,
5.
So Ben recently won 5 out of 5 games at the Not Throne of Skulls. Yeah, we're going to go over the Dark Angels, and we're going to do the Legion traits first.
Yeah. So, and you say traits because we don't have 1 like everyone else. We have 6.
Yeah.
So you choose.
So how the hell does that work then? Because actually, we're about to play a game.
Yeah.
So Ben's going to educate me basically to be able to play a game.
And I've written my list so I can use all 6 as well. So the Dark Angels and their background and stuff like that, a big core to their thing is the hexagrammaton and like all the orders and things that run within them, which is why the lodges never got founded within the Dark Angels, because they were just we've already got lodges, we don't need extra ones. So. So there's 6. The 6 hexagrammaton: the Stormwing, Deathwing, Dreadwing, Ironwing, Firewing, and Ravenwing, which are they all specialise in an area of warfare. So that because they were the first Legion, I remember saying that we were the first Legion.
Well, they're also the first Legion as well. They're still the first Legion.
The first Legion. They're still the first Legion, but they did everything first. So they had, and they when the Lion joined them, he condensed the 19 down to 6 and said, "This is the hexagrammaton."
Well, I want to know. I actually want to know now what those 18 were.
There's another YouTube channel where a guy goes through as many as they know through there, but they all have different things in there, yeah. But they were like, some of them were like ridiculously specific, and then so it was just like, no, the Iron Wing can handle like.
No, we don't want a wing to specifically take on dreadnoughts. They're never going to be good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So we've got the Stormwing.
So Stormwing are like your base tactical marines. So they're all about sort of like. That's your line infantry and sort of controlling the battlefield through that. So the whole idea of the Stormwing is flooding the area with bodies and controlling the area. And
that's +1 to hit with.
So they get +1 to hit with a
bolter.
Yeah, bolter, combi, bolter, and bolt pistols. So basically, tacticals, terminators, and assault marines, if they had Stormwing, all hit on 2s.
Yeah, but it's specifically not
+1 ballistic skills. So when you're snap firing, you're hitting on 5s, not 6s, and when you react firing.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say not Nemesis bolters.
Yeah,
just
specifically
say like
not. Yes.
Get that to Nemesis bolters as well.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why. Because you wouldn't make your Nemesis bolters Stormwing. You would make them Firewing, which we'll come on to.
Oh, well, why don't we do that now? We don't have to do it
we don't have to do that. So Firewing, they're like the assassins and the recon of the. So they do all the recon work and assassinate leaders and stuff like that.
Oh, and that's why you had in the previous edition the 3 characters.
Yeah, so you had which you've still got rules for now, but they still kind of don't work. Is the I think they're called the Enignatus Cabal, and it's a unit of 3 guys in power armour, so it's quite easy to kill them. But yeah, Firewing get +1 to wound against a unit that contains at least 1 model with the independent character.
My TV's apparently destroying itself.
Giving up, yeah. So that's why my recon squad are Firewing, because it makes sense with their sniper rifles, with their Nemesis bolters that they're trying to kill, they get +1 to wound. So
right, okay. And then with your precision shots from the sniper rifles, you just pick out that.
You just pick out the independent character or the character.
Oh, a unit that contains it.
Yeah. So literally, as soon as you've got an independent character joining a unit, then you get +1 to hit that unit.
Right. So it's like preferred enemy, which confers to the.
Yeah, like except onto the wound as opposed to hit. Yeah, so that's where I got it wrong at the event. It's not +1 to hit, it's +1 to wound. So you get +1 to wound against a unit that contains an independent character. And it's important to note that literally any model you take in your army, any unit could be one of these wings. So you could have a Firewing Spartan if you wanted to. Yeah.
Do you select that at the start of the game, or
you select it at army selection? So when the army's written, that's when it's got that wing.
Right. So you got to have decided what you.
Yeah. So it's
not like a warlord trait. You turn up to.
No, and actually, when we get onto them as well, the Heckanista abilities as well. They used to be that you chose pre-game. Now they're chosen at list creation. So.
Okay.
So then
Should
we've
we
got
go Deathwing?
Yeah, Deathwing. So Deathwing, obviously, because Deathwing are a wing that still exists in the 41st millennium as well. But Deathwing they're the veterans. So they've got the First Legion has the largest veteran corps of any legion. So despite the fact they took like 90% casualties during the Rangda Xenocide, they still have the largest.
Well, they still
veteran.
got 10% left.
Yeah, which were all veterans. So no, they've got that's all your Terminators and your vet squads and things like that, and they're much more about like their martial prowess and the ability to just smack people around the head.
Right. So this is where
this is where they get their old ability. So the old ability used for army wide was +1 to hit with a sword when fighting something that was equal to or less weapon skill than you. Yeah. Now Deathwing just get flat +1 to hit with the sword. So anything that's a sword, and there's a massive long list of swords in there, and then there's other swords in the book that are also getting discounts as a Deathwing sword.
So it can get you to that really coveted, basically 2+ to hit.
Yeah.
Like normally everyone's hitting on 3s.
Yeah.
You can get hitting on 2s.
Hitting on 2s, yeah. And then because vehicles can't have swords, so some of these have a vehicle ability as well because it doesn't apply. So like Stormwing and Firewing, that would still apply to vehicles because their guns can still have +1 to wound or +1 to hit.
Well, you can still fire it in character squad.
Deathwing, because vehicles can't have swords, vehicles get +1 to the strength of a ram attack, which is not something I've even looked at in version 2. So, and I don't have any. Oh no, I do. I do have a Deathwing vehicle in this. So if I get the opportunity, I'm going to ram it to see what it does.
Do your vehicle? Say you take a dedicated transport.
Yeah.
Does that have to be the same?
Yeah.
wing?
So, yeah, dedicated transports and things like apothecaries and tech marines have to have the same wing of the unit they're joining.
Right. So that's why you've got a Deathwing unit.
So I've got 2 Deathwing Land Raiders because the units that have taken them as dedicated transports are Deathwing, so they have to be Deathwing themselves.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because otherwise I would always make them Dreadwing, because Dreadwing is better for vehicles. So let's go to
Dreadwing. What does the Dreadwing do? This sort of seems like it follows you.
Yeah, it does. I like
you've done this before.
Dreadwing are my favourite wing, because they're the ones that... So they're not about winning a battle or winning a world, they're about destroying it.
Right. Okay.
So the whole thing about the Dark Angels at the start of the Great Crusade is that for every one world that they brought into compliance, they obliterated 10.
Right. Okay.
So they destroyed, and it's why sort of.
This speaks to the Iron Warrior in me.
Yeah, well,
like
it's also why during the starting phase of the Siege of Terror, they were just going around blowing up traitor homeworlds because
why would you?
Why not? So the Dreadwing, they've got vaults of weaponry that not even the Custodies are allowed. So as the First Legion, they were given lots of Dark Age of technology things, and every ship the Dark Angels has a Dreadwing vault on it that they can open to get a specific weapon to deal with a specific person. And they've been really kind in the game by only putting like the really sort of like soft versions of those guns, because there's one that literally deletes you from time.
Right. Okay.
Is mentioned in the lore, but so they because
they've got a defensive buff though.
Yeah, theirs is all about defence because they're exposed to really nasty weapons all the time, so they're kind of used to it for some reason. So you minus.
I've had micro doses of plasma.
Yeah.
So I've built up a resistance.
Yeah, I've got resistance. And my favourite one's flame. I spend a lot of time in fires, and therefore fires are less effective to me. So yeah, so flame, plasma, volkite, and phosphex reduce their strength at 1. But I don't quite get that with phosphex because phosphex doesn't wound on its strength.
Yeah, but then that comes under poison.
Then it comes here. So any attacks with the poison special rule increase their wound roll to 1. So if it's a poison 3+, it's poison 4+ against them.
Which then covers the back of the phosphorus.
So if you imagine that combined like Dreadwing, Dreadnoughts or vehicles where plasma all of a sudden drops to strength 6 against them, it becomes quite good. So
yeah, then you get Iron Wing.
Iron Wing. So Iron Wing are unsurprisingly all the vehicles. So they're like the massed armoured assaults. But it's not. It's also infantry with heavy weapons or Iron Wing. So anything to do with vehicles or destroying vehicles are the Iron Wing.
Right.
They also, the Dreadwing are the Dreadnoughts. Most of the Dreadnoughts are actually in the Dreadwing, not in the Iron Wing. But the Iron Wing actually, the Iron Wing have all the Iron Wing have the automata. So all the automata are looked after by the Iron Wing, and most of the like tech marines and stuff are Iron Wing. And their one is all. There's I don't know if they get to re-roll. A hit roll of 1 when targeting a vehicle. So
that's like the anti-tank contingent in-game.
Yeah, but they also, and then vehicles themselves can snap shoot at BS2 instead of BS1.
So they actually get an additional benefit
Yeah.
for being a vehicle because you still get that base benefit.
Yeah. So, I mean, and obviously vehicles, if they're shaken and stuff like that, they're going to snap firing. So it just, I don't know, it makes them slightly better in that respect. And then finally the Ravenwing, which is...
And we've saved this to last because it's both last on the page.
Yeah.
And also, from what you've been saying, the worst.
I don't understand it. Like, Ravenwing are one of my favourites, but their rules I don't really understand. So they... so infantry, Ravenwing get +1 to move when they run. Cavalry get to re-roll shrouded damage mitigation rolls.
So then you'd have to spend your
reaction
points to gain that.
Yeah, and then although maybe something to look, I think Ravenwing Rite of War might always make them shrouded. So it's just popped into my head, which means actually that's really good. But we'll
see when we get there.
Yeah, and then vehicles add 2 to their movement characteristic when moving at cruising speed. So
that's actually quite.
That's quite good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is. It means that they can move further, but it doesn't. It allows them to move
reposition better because like tanks can now go half and fire all their weapons.
So
full weapons.
it doesn't affect their combat. Well, no, it doesn't affect their combat speed, unfortunately, but it does affect their cruising speed because it's add when they're moving at cruising speed. So, like a Rhino can move 16, but it couldn't move 8 and then count as moving half because that's not moving at cruising speed. So yeah, I like that, and what I like about it is that now you can have units. You used to play 25 points per squad to choose one of these rules, and they were all garbage. And now it's built in, so everyone gets it.
Well, I think it's much better. It compartmentalises your list. Even though it's picked at creation, you get a unit, and you just go, right, what upgrade is
you've
best
got some natural things. So, like, I've got a las cannon squad I'm building at the moment, and they should be, fluff-wise, should be Iron Wing. Well, las cannons that get to reroll 1 when targeting vehicles make them really useful.
Yeah.
Dreadwing, being able to reduce strength is
as you said on Dreadnoughts.
Works on Dreadnoughts really well. Works well on the infantry as well.
So you think they've themed these rules quite well?
I think they've themed them really. I think they've themed them really well. I think it sounds really, and a lot of them are situational, and none of them are particularly they're not particularly powerful. I think you could probably overload it if you went like I'm doing an entire Dreadwing army and it's all going to be Dreadnoughts, like a Fury of the Legion army, Fury of the Ancients army with all Dreadwing Dreadnoughts.
Well, they've got a few things that you notice in other legions.
Yeah.
And this, I suppose they would...
It's like a light version of it. Yeah.
For other legions. But I think when you get to select it based on the unit, that light version becomes much more useful.
Yeah.
Because it's applied.
Yeah, and it just adds a little bit more flavour to the army as well. When you're doing it, it's just like, oh, these are... It makes a big difference. Like, tactical squads hitting on 2s, that's a really big thing. So all my tactical squads are storming for that reason.
Because why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
It's narrative and better.
Yeah, so the fluff combines with the wax.
It does.
So yeah, we'll go on to the advanced reaction, the Angels of Death.
Yeah, which I thought was terrible until I reread it and then thought, actually, no, it's really good because it's when you're being charged. So the Angels of Death, that goes straight back to their lore. They got that nickname from the Imperial Army during the what's it called? The fight on Terra when they retook it. Unification Wars. Yeah. So when the Dark Angels went around there, they had a bit of a scary reputation that a lot of people died nearby as well, just by being there.
Because they were just like wiping things out.
And they got the nickname the Angels of Death, which they really liked as well. So they were the Angels of Death, and they kept that name until they finally got the name Dark Angels. So that's kind of where the Dark Angel name came from. So it's an advanced reaction made when you're being charged by another unit. So when you're the reactive player, you can choose to do this. And I thought it was rubbish until I realised what these rules do. And as a lot of things are, like when you just read a book and you don't play a game.
Yeah. So just very quickly, if a leadership, basically you take a leadership test.
On the lowest leadership in the unit that's making it.
So it's usually, if it's a tactical squad, it's 7.
Yeah.
If it's a Deathwing squad, it's probably 9.
Yeah.
If the leadership test is passed, you gain Fearless and Fear 2.
Yeah.
Until the end of the controlling player's next turn.
Yeah.
So
you get 2 rounds of combat with it, where you're causing Fear 2 and you're Fearless. And then also, if you fail it, you still get the bonus, you get Stubborn and Fear 1.
Which is still really good.
And it stacks, doesn't it? So if the unit happens to have a Herald in it, then you're causing Fear 3. So it starts to have a bigger impact. And I didn't realise what Fear did at that point, because I'm used to like units just, they either die or they don't. But now, obviously, with leadership being morale being a huge part of the game now.
Yeah.
Which
is such a crazy thing for the fact that the real big difference of this edition
was
that they dropped leadership by 1.
Yeah.
By a lot of things. And
that makes a massive difference, yeah. And then you've got the Warlord traits, which are...
And you only get 2.
We only get 2. And this is interesting as well. So this will figure into the inevitable comments of Dark Angels, should be in the traitor book. All our characters are loyalists.
Yeah.
And that...
You're getting this one in early.
I've got to get it in now, because someone's going to put it, and I'm going to have to go, nice one. When you've had it for 30 years of people saying Dark Angels are traitors, you just have to get it in. So the reason the Dreadwing have all those weapons and all that extra tech and no one else got it is because the Emperor knew they were loyal. He was like, I trust you completely. And the Emperor never does anything wrong, as we know.
That is a very loyal thing to say.
But we do know that some of the Dark Angels may have got a bit bored and decided to look elsewhere for their loyalties at some point. Not during the Heresy, mind. After the Heresy.
Not sure.
Allegedly. So all our Rites of War and all our Warlords traits are neutral, so they can be taken by traitor or loyalist. You can't have any of the characters if you want to be a traitor Dark Angel, but you can literally play every Rite of War and every Warlord trait. So you know how some of the armies have got a loyalist one and a traitor one? Theirs are just neutral.
So you've got the Marshal of the Crown, which is neutral. And that gives a Warlord with this trait, may select one of the Hexagrammaton subtypes, all units that include one model, basically in +1 leadership to a maximum of 10.
Yeah.
You make an additional reaction.
And it depends on which phase you're in. So so like Dreadwing and Deathwing get Assault because that's where they're usually doing their stuff.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So and
this is picked at the start of the battle.
Yeah, so that's the Warlord trait I took.
That reaction, where the reaction's going.
Well, no, because it's determined by the Hexagrammaton of the Warlord. So if the Warlord's Deathwing, that's when you get it. If the Warlord's Bravewing, that's where you get it. So you do know where you're getting them at army creation, and that's the Warlord trait I took to Warhammer World because the next one wouldn't work, as you will see in a minute.
So that's Seneschal of the Keys.
Yeah.
And you select one faction, for example, Mechanicum, Dark Mechanicum, Demons, Legion Astartes, X. One, and you're obviously always going to select...
It's whoever you're playing against,
Yeah. Once per battle, the Warlord's controlling player may start, at the start of their turn, declare on the turn to be decisive. You're going to be very decisive.
This is a really important part,
During the decisive turn, the Warlord and all models in the unit he's joined may increase their weapon skill and ballistic skill by 1 when making attacks against... Basically +1.
It's +1
weapon skill.
Or weapon skill or ballistic skill, it's not both.
Right, but just in the tradition of Heresy 2, this is very wordy way of saying...
Yeah, it's a very wordy way. It's just said they could have just had that for one turn, but and I didn't take that one because my Warlord was a Dreadnought. So I was like, he's never going to be in a unit, and I would rather have the extra... And notice it doesn't grant an extra reaction, that one, and I want an extra reaction, and that doesn't give an extra reaction, so...
So if your Warlord was going to be, say...
I don't think I'd ever take Seneschal of the Keys. I still would never take it because I want an extra reaction.
It is,
But I don't think choosing that for one turn to get +1 weapon skill and +1 or +1 ballistic skill against a particular faction for one turn outweighs having an extra reaction.
Well, not only that...
And the better leadership.
The +1 leadership is massive.
Yeah.
And it's... If you have a majority of those units, like say all your tactics, even if you was Storm...
So mine was Dreadwing, and most of my army was Dreadwing there, so everyone was getting, like all my Interemptors were getting +1, and it's not hard to see a Dreadnought on the table. So, they're okay. The whole point of the Marshal of the Crown is like, he's supposed to be a high up in that order, and Seneschal of the Keys just happens to be, you're someone who has to be at this point at this time because someone's told you, so...
Right, okay, so he's just the timekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Marshal of the Crown, I think the better one as well.
Yeah.
So onto the Dark Angels Rite of War, and you've got 6 Rites of War to choose from in this, and you were just actually giving me a little anecdote of... Do you want to give that again? So that you can definitely be the one that's had the idea, rather than...
I was just saying, they don't... All they do is they change the army from sort of like... They're very narrative in the sense that they make the army fight in the style of that particular wing, but they don't... All they do is they move units around. They don't actually give you anything particularly, with the exception of the one that we both looked at earlier and went, actually Storming's quite cool. So you start, the first one's Steel Fist, which is the Iron Wing one, and it's like it's an armoured breakthrough light in the sense that it doesn't.
When you say light, I'd say usable.
Yeah, yeah. It's better than armoured breakthrough because you don't lose all your troops on turn one.
Yeah. So anyone that doesn't know what armoured breakthrough does is the downside to it is anything that is not in a transport.
It's important to note as well that nothing is line in there unless it's things that normally... It doesn't make anything line, armoured breakthrough. So it used to make Predator's troops, and then that meant that we're scoring. Now it makes Predator's troops, but they're not scoring. Yeah. So you still need to take your still need your tactical squads in rhinos and things like that.
And then if they're out of the rhino at the start of turn one...
And that has a rule that if anything that is... If any infantry model is not embarked on a transport at the start of the controlling player's first turn, it is destroyed. So if you don't go first and your rhinos get blown up or your Spartan or everything, whatever was in it is dead.
Yeah. Just automatically.
Yeah.
So this is better
because it doesn't have that rule. Yeah. So it makes Predator squadrons as troops. It moves Kratos to elites, and my friend is planning on doing an army with 8 Kratos in just because he can.
Just
so yeah,
and all models that are 10 models or fewer, or all units 10 models or fewer, may take a Rhino. A Land Raider Proteus carrier, or more than 10 models a Spartan.
Yeah, so it's like it's combining like armoured breakthrough and armoured spearhead like it has done with the new armoured breakthrough. So yeah, it's Land Raiders at the Wahoo.
And none of the limitations.
They're not that bad, are they? Yeah, you can't have flyers. Oh no, sorry. They've got to be embarked on a transport,
which is no real massive.
No, not
downside.
a problem. You'd want them to be anyway.
All units selected as troop choices must have the Iron Wing subtype,
which you'd give vehicles anyway.
Because this is the Iron Wing.
The +1 to hit against vehicles and the snap shooting. You can't have anything that can deep strike, flank, or subterranean assault. And the Warlord must have the Iron Wing subtype or be Lionel Johnson because he has all of them.
Yes, and I don't think we need to give our thoughts more than that. We've demonstrated why it's better than
it's better than Armoured Breakthrough, but it's still not very good.
Yeah, well, because crucially it doesn't give line to those predators.
And none of these do. None of these Rites of War give line to the units that it moves into the troop slot.
Yeah.
Which is my disappointment, because if I want to play like the next one, Eschaton Imperative, which is actually, it's the most flavoursome and worst in the whole book, in my opinion.
So, the Eschaton Imperative, Destroyer Squads, Mortalis Destroyer Squad, so with jump packs.
Yeah.
Oh no, the other way around. Assault Squads have jump packs.
Yeah.
Interemptor Squads can be taken as troops.
But don't gain line.
All units with the Dreadwing subtype automatically pass any dangerous terrain tests, which comes into it later.
Later, yeah.
All open terrain areas of the battlefield outside of any player's deployment zone count as difficult terrain. Those previously defined as difficult become dangerous. So I actually think that's really good.
Yeah, well, I've only used it once, and I used it against Death Guard, so it wasn't great.
Right, so you might have a skewed view of this. But taking 2 off every movement anyone does ever...
But it also takes 2 movement off me, and my guys are armed with flamers.
Yeah. Yeah, when you put it like that...
So,
yes.
you get the Eschaton marker...
Unless you take loads of Destroyer Assault Squads, and then you just jump over the difficult terrain.
Well, no, because it's all difficult terrain, but you automatically pass the danger. So maybe it would be good if you don't take Interemptors, you actually take Destroyer Assault Squads.
Or you take Rhinos and just move through it.
Yeah, because the vehicles in it ignore difficult terrain as well, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
You also get
vehicles always ignore.
To wound against any model in any area terrain or terrain piece that counts as dangerous terrain, which is all of them.
Yeah. And also the Eschaton markers. How do you not think
this one's good? That's really good.
Because of its limitation. So
especially against Death Guard, if they make their dangerous terrain in their own deployment zone.
Yeah.
Well, I get +1 to wound in your deployment zone.
That is true. But they're quite fast, aren't they, Death Guard? Because they ignore all terrain,
Strangely.
But that limitation there, the third bullet point there.
If at the end of the battle there are any units in the opposing player's deployment zone that are not pinned or falling back, you get that opposing player gains +D3 victory points. So they didn't learn from the drawback last time.
Last time, they've just given it to that Rite of War.
Yeah.
So the reason why I was taking this, and then right up until the point when I realised that when my guys disembarked from the Land Raiders, they could only get out 5 inches. And that made it quite hard to get all the flamers to fire. So I was like, no, I'm done with that.
Right. You heard it first. That's terrible.
This one's good,
I
though.
don't think so as much.
This one's good. I think Storm of War is great. The Storming Rite of War.
So this is any Legion tactical squads, despoiler squads, or assault squads containing at least 20, so full squad, may contain a Legion Centurion. And he no longer gets the orders that they got last time.
No.
He's considered
because he does because he gets it for free. Because we don't pay for the orders anymore. In the old one, he got it, but now you get it anyway.
Where are the orders?
Well, no, it's not the order. It's the orders.
No,
these.
you could do like a guard style.
Oh,
order,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Style order. Right, okay. I never played Storming either. I've never had enough tactical squads to make it to be able to do it.
Well, I think there's a glaring hole in your collection.
And I have a lot of Mark 6s waiting to be painted.
There you go. So yeah, that Centurion's considered part of the squad. All models with both character and Stormwing get the stubborn rule, so
that's huge.
With that gain stubborn all the time rather than.
And then if you combine that with a Warlord trait that makes you +1 leadership, you're then looking at leadership 10 stubborn tactical squads. Yeah,
all the time, not just near objectives. Tactical squads may be selected as elite choices for people that are really masochistic and. Do you really want to fill out your troops' choices and then fill out all your elites' choices with tactical squads? Well, this is the Rite of War for you. Assault squads can be selected as fast attack, so if you want even more 20
it's basically going, I want to have all the scoring units in the world. Because if you look at it there, right, you could take... Because I reckon points-wise, you could easily get it into 3k as well.
Well, it's like 220 points for a normal tactical squad, maxed out.
Is it 220 or is it 200? Because there are 100 points for 10 now.
Oh,
so it might be less than that.
So 200 points then.
Yeah, so 200 points.
You give him the Centurion.
You can have
like
6. So you can have 6 of those, and then you can also have your elite slots, which is 4 more. So you can have 10 squads. So that's 2,000 points.
And the Centurions.
If you take the Centurions, you don't have to.
Well, you want the stubborn.
You do.
So that's
well, no, because you get the stubborn regardless. Oh no, because you have to be. No, it's character, not independent character.
Oh no way!
So you don't even need the Centurion.
So you take 2,000 points.
So you have 2,000 points of tactical marines, and then your assault squads fill up your fast attack slots, which you could easily get into the remaining 1,000 points with your warlord. And then everything in your army scoring. Leadership 10 stubborn. I mean, you wouldn't be able to kill anything.
And as the internet tells me, scoring is the only thing.
Yeah, the only thing that matters.
But assault squads can no longer take all melter bombs, sadly.
No.
So you need some anti-tank in there. But
that's true.
If you, as I say, if you're really masochistic, this is the Rite of War for you. Go and paint.
Yeah, because you can't have any dedicated transports with it either.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to come back on here and show you how it works. I will see you in 4 years.
Oh, you'll knock it out in 2 weeks. So then with the Unbroken Vow.
Yeah, so that's the Deathwing Rite of War. So this is Pride of the Legion and essentially Dark Angel's version of Pride of the Legion, where it's all about these units that now become troops but don't gain the line thing, gain all these benefits when they're within 12 inches of an objective that they can't hold. I'm really bitter about the line thing. It's really annoying.
Go back to playing Iron Warriors, Ben. You're so bitter. So you get Veteran squads, Tartarus, Terminator squads, and Cataphractii squads as troops. Why you don't get your special Terminators as troops?
I don't know. Weird. But I suppose that you're not going to have... It doesn't matter, because troops now, if they don't get line, it doesn't matter where they go, does it?
I suppose. So you then also get +1 attack within 12 of an objective, which you just said, and you also gain Heart of the Legion special rule at all times. Which is the feel no pain
when you... all times, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's good again.
How did you win 5 games?
Actually, no, because Heart of the Legion gives you feel no pain when you're within objective and range of an objective,
So, if you, at the end of the game...
I love how you introduced me as the Dark Angel expert and I'm going, oh no, you're right, Max, that's what it is.
It comes with reading the rules. So, at the end of the battle, if the controlling player does not control the objective...
Yeah, so you place an objective,
a single objective. If you don't control this objective...
You gain D3? That's quite good, actually.
The opposing game gains D3 or D3 to your opponent.
Oh, if I don't control it, they get D3. Oh, I don't like it anymore.
You see, there's too many downsides to these Rites of War that give away victory points. It just makes it unattractive to take. I'd just take Pride of the Legion.
You just take Pride in that case, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Although Pride comes with a massive drawback of you're only allowed...
One heavy support, one fast attack,
But just do... that's a much smaller downside than this. The Seeker's Arrow.
That's the Ravenwing Rite of War. So this one I need to actually read.
Outriders as troops, don't gain line.
Get line, no.
If you've got the Ravenwing subtype, you gain the Rampage 2 special rule, and that's just for your cavalry.
Independent characters, Well, that's cavalry, So your bikes and your jet bike independent characters gain Rampage too.
Right. So independent character models in this detachment using this Rite of War that have cavalry subtype gain Rampage 2.
Yeah.
And that's if you're outnumbered.
Yeah, which you probably are going to be if you're in a jet bike unit. Yeah.
Yeah. All units made up. Why do I keep saying models instead of units? I've done it like 4 times.
All bikes and jet bikes gain outflank.
Thank you, Ben.
There we go.
That's quite good.
That is quite good. Well, it is and it isn't. So I'm with James on this. Like, I don't like anything where
that starts off the board.
Yeah, I don't mind things where it's auto in turn 1 or auto in turn 2, but outflank just means I might not have them until turn 4, and then you're only fighting a proportion of my army.
Yeah.
So
otherwise, you need that Master of Signals to reroll reserves.
Yeah. So the old Ravenwing Rite of War I really liked, because what it did is they started on the board and went into ongoing reserves straight away, which means they auto come in turn 2 with outflank, which is...
And also it wasn't piecemeal.
Yeah.
Because one thing that's a downside of outflank this edition is you know where that marker is.
Yeah.
So I can just move away from it.
Or move onto it so I can't come in by the marker, yeah.
So he's... No more need saying. I'd take it if you want the jet bikes and stuff, because it's not got a downside of the victory points, but it doesn't make you line, so you still need those troops.
Yeah.
But still, if you want to spam jet bikes...
You only get one heavy support choice. And I'm like, unless I really want loads... And if I want loads of jet bikes, I'll just paint them white. My point is, if you're... I suppose, there will be a lot of Dark Angel players with a lot of jet bikes because heavy bolters were broken in the last edition and the old Ravenwing Rite of War was brilliant. So this is the one... Basically, those people that's gone, right, you spent your 400...
Now buy some tactical squads.
Now buy some tactical squads. Because you can play it, but it's not great, I don't think.
Yeah. So...
But it's very... Well, I suppose this is the thing. It's whether you look at what these have been written for, because actually, if you approach this game purely from I want to play campaigns and narrative, then these are great, because that's what they do. Because if you're playing it that way, you can just agree with your friends that, okay, we've decided that they have got line. They have. If you're playing narrative, you can agree anything. You can agree anything, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So the Serpent's Bane, and this is the Firewing.
Firewing, yeah.
Seeker Squad. See, I'm learning. At the start of the battle, the controlling player must select 3 enemy Primarch HQ elites or Lords of War as priority targets and declare the chosen units to the opponent. All models in this detachment that include at least one Firewing subtype add +1 to hit against these priority targets.
Which they would also get +1 to wound if it was an independent character as well, because of the Firewing ability.
There we go.
I'm liking this.
Yeah, and also that confers to stuff that the target priority is joined.
I know, I've just read the limitation. So no, I don't.
Oh, I've just seen it. Models with both the character and Firewing unit subtypes in a detachment gain +1 attack when locked in combat with a priority target. So it's really the...
Yeah. It's like, we have to kill these 3 things. We have to kill them. And actually, this one doesn't...
Well, I think it's also got the greatest benefits.
Yeah.
Up to 3 units selected as troops in the detachment using this Rite of War.
Gain infiltrate.
Yeah,
which is
so
great.
That's really good. And I'm going to make an argument that this is actually worth it.
Yeah.
Because it's select 3.
Yeah.
It doesn't compel you to pick that Primarch that's hard to kill.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to pick... As long as they've got HQ... Well, no. So, it's assuming that if they've got 3 HQ and elites... Or
Lords of War.
Or a Primarch. And you probably would pick the Primarch, because if a Primarch's on the table, you're going to need to try and kill it anyway, so...
I tend to just avoid.
Well, we'll see soon, won't we?
Yeah, we will see. So the downside is if you don't take out all those priority targets, or pin off or make them fall back at the end of the game, which will be very hard against Primarchs, because you can't do that.
Yeah.
Your opponent scores +3 victory points.
Not D3, 3. So they've got potential 9 victory points sat on the table.
A question of how hard is it to take out 3 units, and that could be the Primarch.
I mean, the other thing is you could actually use it to force your opponent to basically keep stuff out of the game, to hide stuff away, and just go, right, well, the rest of the army is going to go and grab all these objectives and do things, whilst that really important thing that you needed is now hiding.
You could also just go, right, so what do people do with Primarchs tend to? Yeah. They put the Primarch with a character in a Death Star,
and they run them
in a Spartan or Lambda, right? Even if they don't.
Yeah.
But the bodyguard unit, the character in the Primarch,
that's your 3
priority targets. Or even if it's just Primarch and bodyguard, in a Raider or a Spartan, that's 3. So then all you have to do
is kill that.
You just go, bam, see you in a bit, let's pack up.
And that's the thing as well, 3 units selected as troops, because obviously if you've got You've got your Seeker squads as you... And the whole thing as well is that Seeker squads may be taken as troops choices, so you don't even need to have Seeker squads to do it.
Really good with the 4 rending.
Especially when they're infiltrating in as well.
Well, they get infiltrate anyway.
Well, then in which case, then you couldn't have like support squads of melters infiltrating and things like that would be brilliant.
Yes, I actually... Because how hard is it to take out that one unit?
Especially, I agree with you on this one. Even though this one has the biggest drawback in terms of points, I think it's the one that would be...
It's the only one that
it'd be a really fun
it.
challenge as well, because you either say, right, you're going to get 9 victory points if they survive, so you keep them out of my way, or...
And slay the Warlord as well.
Yeah.
And +1 for slaying a Primarch.
Yeah.
So if you do that...
what I would say in this one is I would have liked it if like it had some sort of thing that those priority targets, you got like a victory point for each one. If you get 3 for keeping them alive...
I think maybe 1, because it's...
1 if you take all 3, just to give something,
Just to give something.
Because you have to kill them at that point.
Well,
you make it an objective,
get +1 for that, so why don't you?
They get... Well, if you take the... What's the head? The one where you have to kill. No, they have to kill someone. They get like 2 victory points or 3 victory points.
Yeah. So I think you should get something. It's a bit weird that you don't, but I don't think it's too hard to gain those benefits.
No.
Even just the infiltrate. The +1 attack is great.
Yeah.
The +1 to hit is great.
Yeah.
Infiltrate to 3 troops of your choosing
is really good.
Great.
Yeah.
As you say, Meltagun support squads. At the end of this Rites of War section, you were actually saying before you tend not to take Rites of War.
Not really, no. I tend not to like drawbacks, so I'd rather not have the benefits and just take whatever I want.
Especially
and even
when
more
that's
so
just making something troops. But
more so now. Like I'd only take. So the only Rite of War I've taken in 2.0 at the moment has been Fury of the Ancients, and not as a full Dreadnought forces, just to get more line units, because it's a Rite of War that gives me line units
to your Dreadnoughts that you're taking anyway.
So you're taking them anyway. Dreadnought's really good. If you can give them line, that just it's a force multiplier. It's brilliant. So if I can get a benefit like that, like it gives me line, then fine. I would take each and every one of those Rites of War if it made the units that it moved into troops line, and it really annoys me that it doesn't. It annoys me that it doesn't, because so many legions have ones that, well, so many loyalist legions have ones that do, and I don't understand why your guys get line and mine don't.
Well, let's not go into that, because
you know what I mean.
We've addressed that at the start of the Warlord trait section.
Yeah.
Of why the loyalist ones get line.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben, I had to do it. So on to the you brought it up. So the Armoury of the Dark Angels.
Yeah.
So you've got Weapons of Old Night.
Yeah. So they've got the big key from this one. So from version 1 is we had our what we call bullshit bolters.
Oh right, the bullshit bolters.
Yeah, the
molecular
acid bolters, which were poison.
Why do I know these things?
Because they were horrible. Poison 2+, AP D6, I think they were.
Yeah, I got bent over by them.
And then there were like 11 different ways of working out how you'd work out what the AP was, and no one could settle on one.
People that weren't mental.
Yeah.
So you don't have those anymore.
Yeah, they got rid of those because, to be fair, they were clunky as hell and they were really broken.
Yeah.
And it's why lots of Dark Angel players have lots of jet bikes, because heavy bolts were really good in Dark Angel. But they were like our one thing that we had. So. Yeah.
Now you get Calibanite Warblades again.
Yeah, so that's the same. They now they used to be free. So it used to be free, but now it's a +1 strength thing, and it costs 5
points.
5 points, yeah, to have and basically anything with character keyword can take those. If I've got 5 points spare, then they've got a Calibanite Warblade.
I would just put a fist.
I wouldn't put a fist. I'd just put a Tyrannic Greatsword on them. So
there we go. Right, so any model with independent character may exchange a Power Fist for a Tyrannic Greatsword for no additional cost.
Yeah.
+2 strength, AP 3, 2-handed, rending 5, murderous strike 5.
Yeah, I love that murderous strike 5.
So on a 5 to wound,
your AP 2 and instant death.
Yeah, it's not a separate roll. So yeah.
And it's strength 6, which is great anyway.
So you're wounding things on 2.
But only independent characters or units that already have them as options can take Tyrannic Greatsword.
Which I imagine you have a couple.
Yeah. I used to always put Calibanite Warblades on all my sergeants because they were free. So if you're paying for a power weapon, you might as well have a better power weapon for free. So
yeah, but I think that +5 points.
Yeah, you do have to pay
a little bit.
Yeah.
I prefer a power axe. I like power axes anyway because they're AP 2 all the time. But if I'm paying 5
But if I'm paying for a power axe, I just get a power fist because I'd rather have the double strength. If I've got to go at this one,
that's usually my logic.
Yeah.
Like, I prefer the power axes, but I always take the fist.
So we've got the plasma repeater and the plasma burner. Or our plasma. So the plasma repeater we had in the old edition, and it was terrible. And do you know what? It's still terrible. It's a 12-inch range, strength 6, assault 3 plasma gun with gets hot and twin linked, which is better. It's twin linked now.
And breaching 4. So it's just a normal plasma one, extra shot.
It's got an extra shot in a plasma with half the range.
Yeah.
With twin link though, it does gain.
Well, it's got. Yeah.
So that's good. So you can avoid the gets hot.
So
you've got more chance of getting it.
Actually, that it's 5 points over
the cost of a
plasma
gun, and I don't. And when you think, right, well, I've got a squad of plasma guns. That's 50 points for that extra 10 shots, but you've halved your range. You might do it if you're in the if you can infiltrate that unit through some form of rite of war, but
and get +1 to hit.
Yeah.
And re-roll to wounds at 1, is it?
Yeah. So
+1
to wound. Yeah. So
yeah. I possibly.
It's also point of strength less, though, isn't it? Isn't it plasma strength 7?
No, oh, whichever way.
Yeah.
Wounding on 2s anyway.
Yeah.
But key is that it pales in insignificance
to the mighty plasma burner,
exactly,
which was awful in the last edition and is amazing now.
Yeah, so it's game template basically.
Yeah, so it used to be 12 inches, 2 shots, strength 4, AP2 flat. So it was AP2 all the time, but it's strength 4.
Plasma was.
Yeah, so it was a bolt plasma basically, a 2-shot bolt plasma.
But now with template.
Now it's a template at strength 6, AP4, breaching 4+.
So it will get wall of death.
Wall of death on it, yeah.
And crazy.
Breaching 4+ is exactly the same as strength 4 AP2 because you always needed force to wound anyway. So it's not lost and it's gained massively because a template is short range, but you can hit so many more things with it.
Yeah, well, it's 8-inch range, but as soon as you're in a transport, it doesn't matter as much.
No.
It does for a flamer squad, which still allows armour saves, but it doesn't when you just wipe out the opponent by getting in that range. So and that's what you do with these weapons.
Yeah, no, and anyone that... So you can have a 10-man plasma squad with those, but it costs 100 points to take plasma burners, and you wouldn't take those, you take Interemptors, which we'll get onto, yeah.
So then you get stasis missiles on anything that can take a missile launcher.
For 5, and I don't see the point. I know they've got concussive.
Strength 4, blast 3 inches, concussive 1. We'll just move on from that one. And we'll go into the Legion Consularis.
So we've got our own Consul.
Do you know how to say this one, Ben?
Yeah, it's a paladin of the Hecanista.
The Hecanista?
Well, actually, it's a made-up word, so yeah, it's however you want to say it. I think it's Hecanista.
This runs up against my favourite thing. All words are made up.
That is true. Actually, do you know what I mean when I say Hecanista? So if I say that word, you know I'm referring to this unit. That's all that matters.
No, because it sounds too much like the Hecagrammaton and the...
Well, it is supposed to be from Hecanista. Never mind.
Hecanista.
It's a paladin of all the vowels, consonants, sorry. It's a centurion or a Tartarus centurion or a cataphractory centurion, can be upgraded to a paladin for 30 points. He gains a Tranic Greatsword for free. So that's what?
That's a 20 point weapon.
Whatever Power Fist costs. So
I think 20 points for a centurion.
Yeah.
And gain weapon skill 6,
weapon skill 6, leadership 10, and adamantium will 3+ and stubborn.
So really good.
Really good.
Really good. Like, you basically become a praetor with 2 wounds.
Yeah. So I like that one. If you need a cheap HQ that can smack things, that's good.
Well, he's not that much cheap. It's the fact that he gains that war gear in addition. And there's not much to go through with this. He's not got some crazy special rules.
No special rules.
He's got just USRs, and they're good.
Yeah. It's simple and I like it.
Yeah,
There's no
he's just
debate.
A fighting character. Yeah, do you know, like, it's not like, you've
if
got
you're
to
taking
use
a
him in
centurion,
way.
why not have this guy?
Yeah, exactly. So on to We'll skip over the slide. We want
to finish on that.
We want people to watch till the end of the video, Ben.
And he's the best one, yeah. So Inner Circle Knight Cenobium.
And they are weapon skill 5 Terminators, 6 on the Sergeant.
Yeah.
Which is really good because you're getting your +1 to hit.
Yeah.
So you'll be hitting.
Well, no, only if you take him as Deathwing.
You're going to take.
You take him as Deathwing.
Spoiler for halfway through this unit. You're going to take him as Deathwing, and the weapon skill 5 is big on. I know a lot of other special Terminators are weapon skill 5, but you're now hitting with Deathwing all normal Terminators on 2s. And other people's special Terminators on 3s, which they would normally hit normal Terminators on. Yeah,
so there's loads to pick apart. Firstly, like, if you're a Dark Angel player and you don't own a unit of these, there's something wrong with you because they're gorgeous models.
Yeah.
And I just think they're really good for what they are. They're 275, which is about right for a specialist Terminator unit.
Especially if that.
Yeah.
What can be stacked onto these?
So they've got Stubborn and Adamantium Will 3+.
Yeah.
Order Exemplars, which we'll come on to. So the Order Exemplars, this is the bit that I was saying at the start of the video. You used to choose this pre-battle. Now you choose it at army selection. You've got the 6 wings of the Hexagrammaton, but inside the Dark Angels, there's loads and loads of orders which are really specific for different things.
And this is to make it as obscure to your opponent as possible. What you're actually using.
So you can there's 6 to choose from, and actually there's a thingy unit,
a specialist
unit in the PDF, legendary unit, which don't get this. They have one decided, which is all about killing dreadnoughts and mech.
Because that's the new thing.
Yeah, so, and they are really good at killing dreadnoughts, by the way.
If there is one that's particularly good, should we just go through that?
Yeah. So
which one is particularly?
So essentially, everyone's going to take Reaper of Hosts.
So that's +1 attack in any fight subphase in which you base contact with more than one enemy model. Most of them.
Because their attacks are quite low and they're armed with 2-handed weapons, so if you can get more attacks with them, you want more attacks.
And you're fishing for those 5+.
Yeah.
How have you found? Oh, and they've also got the Plasma Caster.
Yeah, so they've got a weaker version of the Plasma Burner. So it's a template, Strength 4, AP 4, Breaching 6+. That used to be exactly the same gun as the other guys. That used to be Strength 4, AP 2 all the time. So Breaching 6+ is not as good, but it's still a good weapon to have on Terminators.
But the Tyrannic Greatsword arguably got a load better by gaining the Breaching. How do you find these stack up against other people's Terminators?
Yes.
Well, it's good.
Yeah, because it used to be AP3.
Yeah, it used to be AP3 just all the time. You couldn't do anything. Because that's why Thunderhammer is a free upgrade on these. Because it's a carryover from when Tyrannic Greatswords were terrible.
And I would put a Thunderhammer in the unit, so I do. I put one in. Thunderhammer's good. Yeah, I've got one in there.
The Grenade Harness, you need that.
Yeah,
it's 5 points.
You do, because you've got the majority of your weapons are fighting at initiative. With Terminators, normally I wouldn't bother because my Terminators are the Fists and Thunderhammers. That's what they're for. I'm going last anyway, so why waste the points? But with these, you need it. So.
Yeah. So how do you find they do against other people's Terminators?
So.
Because they'll mint any other squad, right?
So yeah, they and like normal Terminators, they absolutely flatten.
Yeah.
It's about a 50-50 trade-off with anything with a Storm Shield is the difficulty. So if the Invuln save is improved to a 3+, so if you're against Imperial Fists or Fire Drakes, that's difficult. They're great against things like Typhon's Bodyguard, the Death Shroud, because they've got the whole we count as toughness 5 for instant death, so Fists don't do it, but Murderous Strike bypasses that. Yeah. So
and they're also really good against Dreadnoughts, I suppose.
Yeah,
or if you can get charged by a Dreadnought.
Yeah, so they're
with their instant death.
They've got instant death at D3 wounds. The problem is they tend to trade out because a Dreadnought would double up on them.
So this is what I'm saying. You need to get charged by that Dreadnought.
Yeah.
To not get...
Yeah, you want to be in cover to try and go before it type thing, yeah.
Exactly.
I took the Order Exemplar version of them, which is they get +1 to wound against Dreadnoughts as well, so it basically makes them Strength 7, and they were with a guy with Rad Grenades, so they were wounding Dreadnoughts on 4s, but you're looking for the 5s anyway, it doesn't really matter about that. But they...
So would you take that legendary unit over the Reaper of Hosts for +1 attack? I know you did.
I did, but only because it didn't come out. No, I think I'd rather have the attacks. I think I'd rather have the Reaper Hosts.
When you break it down like that...
And the thing is as well, is also, I would take these because at the moment it's Legion on Legion, but a lot of these are about like anti-mech or anti-demon and things like that, so that becomes a change, doesn't it? When those armies get their rules and start coming out, then I'd want to make sure these armies you've got something to deal with them, haven't you? So I just think they're a good unit for the price. I like them.
But that Reaper of Hosts will always, with the +1 attack.
Yeah.
Well, +1 attack is better than reroll of 1s to hit.
Yeah.
Because you've got more. Like rerolling is like getting an extra attack. Yeah,
and the reroll of 1 to hit is only if the enemy model is toughness 5 or greater.
Or weapon 5. Yeah.
So.
And you don't really need the +1 leadership.
You don't need Augur of Weakness. The anti-tank one, they're not an anti-tank unit, there's better things. If you're trying to kill a vehicle, then you're not sending Terminators with swords and flamers after them, are you? So
Yeah. So we'll go on to the next unit, which is the Deathwing Interemptor squad.
which they need a big boost because I think they really struggle. I love them. They are absolutely insane. The thing is, they were prohibitively expensive in the old edition. They've got 100 points cheaper.
For the 5.
Yeah. Well, 100 points for 10. It was there were 355 for 10, and it's now 255.
So they're essentially a destroyer squad with plasma burns.
Yeah.
They've got stubborn counter-attack.
Counter-attack, which is great. Straight away.
Especially combined with your wall of death from your template weapons.
So the other thing as well is it's not just the fact that they've got that, they also get access to the plasma incinerator, which is the heavy version, and that's exactly the same stats, but has torrent 9-inch, so it can fire it over the top of the rest of the squad and then change the rotation.
Unless I can deal with them in some way.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll get there.
You might see it in the battle report on the Bearfoot channel.
So one squad of these against a Death Guard player that had a 20-man tactical squad got 96 hits and 63 of them were breaching.
Horrendous. But yeah, they are the most mental unit in the Dark
I
Angels
love them.
list,
I think they're great. Yeah.
We're trying to be succinct about all this because we're about to play a game. We need time for that.
Yeah.
But these are go-to unit, and it also
They're really pretty.
yeah, they're really good.
Pretty.
They're lovely models. Like the kits are really good. I like the helmets. I like the plasma look.
Deathwing Companions next, I think.
Yeah.
Deathwing Companions are I've used them once and I think they're amazing because they're cheap for what they are. 150 points for 5 guys that are basically a veteran stat line, artificer armour, and a Calibanite Warblade. For 5 points, they can all have a Tyrannic Greatsword, which mine all have.
Can I just say this first?
Yeah.
Do not take bayonets or chain bayonets on this unit.
No.
They have the option. They've got a veteran stat line.
Yeah.
Just as a very quick.
They come with a bolter, bolt pistol, artificer armour, refractor field on the Oathbreaker, who's the sergeant.
Yeah. Deathwing Companions, which we'll go through.
Yeah.
Chosen Warriors, which is really good for accepting challenges.
Yeah.
If you have a character in there, you accept the challenge with this guy, so your character can move a unit.
Yeah.
Relentless, like a veteran.
Yeah.
So
and
how do you equip these?
So I've equipped mine wrong. They've all got Calibanite Warblades, and I've swapped the Calibanite Warblades for Tyrannic Greatswords on all of them.
Calibanite Warblades?
So the Calibanite
Greatswords?
Yeah, no, have I just said they swapped the Calibanite Warblades for Calibanite Warblades? Yeah. I meant, Calibanite Warblades for Tyrannic Greatswords. So they've all swapped to Tyrannic Greatswords, which means essentially they've all lost an attack because they're all now fighting with two-handed weapons, but they've gained instant death and extra strength, and a better breaching. So, Ren, sorry, not breach. But yeah, they're I'm not bothering with combi weapons or anything for it. They can take a jump pack if the character they're attached to has a jump pack as well, so that's important to
Which
know.
is fairly good. Like if you want to put them in Firewing and go for the classic
you can have up to 10 of them. They can take a Land Raider as a dedicated transport. That's really cool. That's fine. They've got a special shield called a Scytheron Pattern Aegis, which is, dare I say it, even more broken than the Ultramarine shield.
So what does that do?
Well, for starters, I just want to point out, just in case one specific person's listening, at no point in this does it say boarding shield. So at no point does it obey any form of boarding shield rule. It's not written down in the description or anything. It's a special shield that they carry. And I didn't initially have them because I thought that it's a shield, so you can't use a two-handed weapon.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. So it gives them a 4-up invuln against shooting and a 5-up invuln in combat. And if they wish,
it's as good as a boarding shield without being a boarding shield. Except it's got a better invulnerable to shooting.
It's got a better invulnerable to
shooting. They're
shooting.
cataphracti to shooting.
Yeah.
And they're Tartarus.
Now, I know, it gets even better. So if they want to know they're going to receive a charge from a unit, they deploy them all, which is basically they dig them all into the ground. And that now gives everyone in the unit, so the guys they're protecting, if they haven't already, an invuln save, and reduces the initiative by 1 of the units that are charging them.
Oh, no, that's mental.
So, coming soon, my Deathwing Companions unit will all have shields on their backs ready to go, because I've got the shields for them, I just didn't paint them up.
So you just want, you want 2 shields?
Yeah, you have to have 2, well, I'll give them all shields, because it gives them all a 4-up invuln then. And I think for 10 points a guy...
But you only need 2 don't you, to deploy it?
Yeah, but if you lose that if you move. So... You keep that in place. That's if you're going to stay still and you want to protect someone that's staying still and ordering people around. But if you're taking a combat character and you want to be running into the combat, you want all to have shields, because you're basically buying them all a 4-up invuln against shooting and a 5-up invuln,
which is really
for
good.
10 points.
Yeah.
I think for
now
10 points
isn't as much of a thing because it's only 6-up or 5-up for ruins. 4-up invulnerable to shooting is humongous.
Yeah, it'll be mad, and I think we'll probably see it in this game as well. Is that they'll just get dropped like that.
Yeah.
So they need, because they'll get doubled out easily enough, and because they don't have the invuln save in there.
Yeah.
But the best thing, the reason you buy them is for the Deathwing Companion rule. Absolutely. So they ignore the effects of precision strikes and shots and sniper special rules.
And snipers.
Yeah. So they ignore all of that. Casualties from shooting and melee attacks are always allocated to a model of the controlling player's choice. They bypass Primarchs, so Primarchs can't even put wounds on where they want to, because the Deathwing Companions can say, no, we're putting it where we want it to go. And for 150 points a unit, I know obviously they're not once you've tapped everything on, but they're well worth it.
Yeah, do not take Command Squad, take these guys every time.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that they've not got is stubborn.
No. But the unit that they're with usually has, so because obviously they're going to be with a character, and there's lots of ways of characters in the Dark Angels from getting things.
So that is the Deathwing Companions. We've covered them basically in as much detail as it needs to be. Everyone needs to take them.
They're just really good. Yeah.
If you've got a character, which everyone should have one, take Deathwing Companions.
Yes, definitely.
And with obviously the Deathwing, do they have to take Deathwing? Is that actually in
they have to take Deathwing, and they get to. I should have mentioned this earlier. So when you pick so independent characters can join whatever they do. The rules for selecting your rule is everyone in the unit must have the same thing at the point that they're a unit. So a command squad has to have the same thing as the character they join, because they have to choose it. Whereas these can go with anyone because they don't have to choose it. It's already built in that they are Deathwing.
Right.
So they are Deathwing, but they could go with a Dreadwing leader, because these guys literally, they do go around.
So do you gain both traits?
You choose. So you choose you can choose at the start of each turn, if you've got mixed ones, which one they're going to be going off, which is always going to be Deathwing if you've got those swords. You might tempted to go, I'll go Dreadwing up until the point I'm into combat, and then I'll switch to Deathwing.
Yeah, well, I think that's
combat,
that's possibly the best combination.
Yeah. But the thing is as well, Firewing might be useful sometimes, like not the +1 to hit. Oh, well, it's the same, isn't it? +1 to hit independent characters, so actually that's pointless. No, you'd always have +1 to hit with the swords.
Because Deathwing. Yeah. So we'll go on to special characters, and you've got Corswain.
Yep.
Who is a Deathwing special character?
He is. He's the champion of the Legion. So he's sort of in the same sort of realms as Sigismund and Lucius. He's not. I mean, none of them are as good as Siggy because they don't have Eternal Warrior. That's literally
so he's weapon skill 7. 4 attacks. He's in Terminator armor, so he's
he's in.
I thought Corswain
Corswain's in Artificer.
Oh, so he's got more wounds than a standard Predator.
Yes. Yeah, more wounds than a standard
Predator. He's got
Predator.
Armour of the Forest and Mantle of the Champion.
Yeah.
And the Blade.
Yeah.
So the Blade is +2 strength, like a Tyrannic Greatsword. AP 1, unlike a Tyrannic Greatsword, and that is really good. Mastercraftist, Duelist Edge 2.
So he's Initiative 6 in a challenge? Initiative 7 in a challenge?
Yeah. A Murderous Strike 4+, which is really good against everyone but Sigismund. Yeah. And a Primarch, obviously. Yeah. So he's really good against Dreadnoughts, because you can potentially nuke a Dreadnought.
Yeah, and he's got his Armour of the Forest, Mantle of the Champion, gives him a 2-up armour save, 4-up invuln, which is 3-up against close combat.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, so he's a duelist. He's
got a better invuln than a lot of Primarchs.
Yeah, he also has precision strikes 4+ as well. So when he's fighting as a unit, he doesn't necessarily have to take the challenge.
Unless they have a Deathwing Companion squad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And he is Warlord, Marshal of the Crown. He automatically has Marshal of the Crown, Deathwing Warlord trait.
Yeah.
And may not select any other Warlord trait.
Yeah.
So
he automatically has that, and we'll tell you that he can't select another one in addition to the one that he automatically has.
Yeah. So he gains the assault phase.
The good one.
Reaction.
The
line reaction.
He has the good one of the two.
And gains +1 leadership to anyone that can see him. So really good.
Yeah, and
Really
200
good.
points. Good character for 200 points, I think.
Yeah. Oh, really good for a budget character.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's no Sigismund, but who is?
Yeah.
Like, who is? You can't really compare to the Imperial Fist.
I think he would give Sevatar and Lucius a run for it. They'd probably kill each other, but that Murder Strike 4+ is a big thing.
Yeah, well, he's going to be 2 higher initiative than Sigismund.
Yeah.
So he will at least be striking first.
Yeah.
He has a better Invern
Yeah.
because Sigismund has only got an Iron Halo.
Yeah.
So he he's instant. Sigismund's always instant death.
Yeah, so his instant death just gets one through and he's killed him, so...
Yeah, and he doesn't have it. Only Sigismund has Eternal Warrior. So he's still incredibly good.
He's very good,
He's like
yeah.
30 points.
And that's a nice
Predator.
touch as well. I always have to mention this every time anyone talks about Corswain. So his sword's called the Blade. Now, in 40k, in the last time I played it in the Dark Angel Codex, there was a relic that you could get for the Raven Wing
Yeah.
called the Blade of Corswain. And it's called the Blade of Corswain, and here it's just called the Blade. You're thinking, oh, what was it called? It was called the Blade.
That's actually a really good tidbit.
Yeah, I like that.
Madrak Sederas.
He's 220 points of awesome, is what he is.
So he's got a plasma burner, so the flamethrower of doom.
Yeah, he's got the strength 6 flame. He's got 3 phosphex bombs, a grenade harness, the Regala of the Shattered Spear, which is his cataphract Terminator plate.
And the Death of Worlds.
We'll get to the Death of Worlds. That's the reason why you pay 220 points. Oh, no, it's not. That's not. Ancient of War is why you pay 220 points for him.
Right, so let's just go through all of him. Let's start with the Warlord trait.
So, Warlord trait, he basically gets a unit of those Terminators, his own unit of those Terminators, as a retinue squad.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to have them, but he can have those. So it's just getting another one in there, and then you get an additional reaction in the assault phase.
The good one.
Yeah.
Or the good one for this army.
Yeah.
He's a good thing.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Ancient of War.
Well, let's cover that last, because that's just... You say what people say, it's so
I
good.
think you're saying a few different things. Let's cover last. We've got to do something first.
No, that's the bit we've got to cover last.
Right,
Ancient of
okay.
War. Right, so
Regalia of the Shattered System.
that's his Terminator.
We don't
armor.
have to cover this last, do
So
we?
it's 2 up armor save, 4 up invulnerable save, but he automatically passes any dangerous terrain test he's called to make, because he's Dreadwing, and that links in with their Rite of War type thing.
So, solid, it's just some Terminator armour, really.
Yeah, the Death of Worlds is like...
Strength plus 5?
Yeah, it's an unwieldy las cannon.
Strength plus 5? That's such a ridiculous...
Plus, invulnerable save and -1 against it.
That's huge.
Yeah. Well, if he ever gets to swing, to be fair, he's with a squad of those Terminators. They've usually killed everything he's fighting. So, and he doesn't have Eternal Warrior, and I don't like anything that if you don't have Eternal Warrior and then you've got a sword that means you're striking last.
Yeah, and he doesn't even get +1 to hit with his sword.
No, he doesn't, because he's not Deathwing. But he is an Ancient of War. He's the oldest living member of the Dark Angels.
Right.
So he goes right back to the very beginning. He's an Eschaton, which means you get the Eschaton rank in the Dark Angels when you have personally destroyed a planet.
Yeah.
He's destroyed 6, and he's got a mark on each of those that his sword gets longer each time he destroys the thing. That's why it's
this
called
is the guy that's his sword gets longer.
Yeah. So,
surely that makes his sword really weak. And he keep reforging his sword.
yeah, I don't think that's how swords work. But anyway, it sounds cool.
So he's...
But Ancient of War, and I
does.
took Madrak Sederas at this event. So you were saying, how did I win 5 games? I won 5 games because I had Madrak Sederas. That is literally the reason how I managed to win 5 games.
Oh, right. So let me... it's 6 inches because I've just seen it. But this is the one that gives preferred enemy to anyone that deploys within 6 inches and anyone that's in a transport that's within 6 inches.
It's anyone that deploys within 6 inches of Madrak Sederas or a transport he's embarked upon. That 6-inch footprint, when measured off a Land Raider, is quite big. And would provide it to anyone that's in a dedicated transport. You wouldn't get it if you were just embarked on a
so
transport.
if you're embarked on a random Spartan, you don't.
Yeah, but if it's dedicated transport, you would, because it's part of that unit.
In preferred enemy chosen faction for all models.
And you choose that. So the way it is you have to deploy as a block with that. So you deploy your whole army within 6 inches of Madrak Sederas, because it's done at deployment.
Yeah.
So anything that's within 6 inches at deployment then gets preferred enemy. And then they can move off and they keep that, whether he's alive or not. Because he's basically got them all together and gone, guys, this is who we've got to kill. And it's preferred enemy X, so he literally just goes, who are we fighting? Right, we've got preferred enemy you.
And that's just these...
So when you factor that in, that I was fighting an army that was Dreadnoughts, Land Raiders, and Interemptors.
Yeah.
Strength 6 Flamers with preferred enemy. Auto hit, wounding on 2s, re-rolling 1s. Las Cannons, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, re-rolling 1s.
Yeah. So I think...
It's massive just for that. Like, 220 points, if you take that rule away from him, he's not very good. Like, for 220 points, he's a lot of points for a guy that doesn't bring a huge amount to the fight.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
What?
This is the biggest compliment I can possibly give to any character.
Yeah.
He's second only to the Imperial Fist. like, in this edition, he's the best character we've covered that isn't an Imperial Fist.
Yeah.
And that is the highest compliment that I can give.
I know.
Like, that is such an incredible rule.
It's mega, and it's why he's not in the list for our game later, because it makes things
so people
silly.
don't screech at you online.
Well, no, it's not screeching online. It's just... So, like, Las Cannons, like, I really like Land Raiders anyway, and I think Gravis Las Cannon's better. I'd rather have 2 shots than Twin Linked, but 2 shots with preferred enemy is like a little bit of Twin Linked. Yeah, so
he's really, really good.
Yeah, really, really good.
And then we'll go on to the big
back
boy.
to the Lion. The Lion in version 1 had 2 sword options.
Yeah.
He still has those 2 options, and in the previous edition, you would always take the Wolf Blade.
So there is actually 2 options now?
Yeah. There were 2 options before, but you would only take the Wolf Blade. No, now you'd still only take... No, this time it's flipped. You would only take the Lion Sword. I think they've cunningly written this to go, let's make everyone buy a second Lion.
Right, because no one magnetised because there was only one option.
I didn't magnetise it. I cut his arms off and put the sword back on because I kept the sword.
Right, so the Lion, weapon skill 8, so he's on the higher end of Primarchs. He's the same as Horus and other combat Primarchs. Like Horus being the big boy.
Yeah. Is Russ the highest on 9, or is it...
Is Russ on 9? Right, you go through the Lion, I'll look up Russ.
So he's weapon skill 8, movement 8, ballistic seal 6, strength 7, toughness 6, 6 wounds, initiative 7. That's a big thing, because that's high for a Primarch.
Russ is 8, and also initiative 7. Probably because they might have played it off the fact that there's the rivalry. Right?
He's got 7 attacks, and then so he's very similar to stat line. He's higher in his weapon skill and his initiative than most Primarchs, I think.
Yeah. So they're hitting him off.
But he is a combat Primarch at the end of the day. So he comes with the Leonine Panoply, which is his... I never know how to say that word. Panoply? Panoply? That's his armour. The Lion Sword.
He's very good. So let's go through that.
Yeah.
2 up armour save, same. 4 up invuln. And the first failed invulnerable save of each turn may be re-rolled, which is really, really good.
Really useful.
Yeah.
So the first failed one is re-rolled. The only thing that's clunky about that is that key thing saying the first one, because it now means that if you wound the Lion 4 times, I've got to roll them 1 at a time. I can't roll all 4 because I don't know which one would be the first one.
Yeah, if you James, you do it 1 at a time for some reason anyway, because you like wasting people. so the Lion Sword?
So the Lion Sword is I come with this sword, but I can swap it for the Wolf Blade, but you never would. The Lion Sword is strength as user, so it's strength 7.
Yeah.
AP 1.
Yeah.
Armour Bane.
Flesh
Bane.
So
Mastercrafted. Instant death. So he's hitting nearly everything. Oh, and also, let's just put in there that when he has all 6 of the Hexagrammaton, so when he's choosing to be Deathwing, he gets +1 to hit with that sword as well.
So he's hitting other Primarchs on 3s and 2s?
3s and 2s, yeah. Wounding them on 2s. Well, the instant death does nothing to them. But
still...
See what he does to Dreadnoughts.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's madness.
And so we'll do the Wolf Blade now, and it's really quick. It's AP 3. Don't take it.
AP 3 breaching 4+ reaping blow 2 with fearsome ruin. But why?
But it's AP 3.
It's AP 3. Why you would never willingly choose an AP 3 weapon on a Primarch?
No.
Ever.
No. Even it basically halves your attacks.
Yeah.
Because you need that breaching 4.
Yeah.
So even though you're getting reaping blow, if it was reaping blow,
well, the whole thing is it's extra. It's extra strength. I don't care. I'm strength 7 armor bane. I can take on every tank.
Well, right. So
and I'm flesh bane, so I can take on literally every toughness.
What reaping blow does it need to be? Because I reckon it needs to be reaping blow 7 to make that worthwhile.
Yeah, he needs like double his attacks to make it worth.
Yeah,
worth
because
having.
he's halving them.
And it's not instant death, so it's strength 9, which means toughness 10, toughness 5 stuff don't instant die to it.
Yeah, but let's not stay on the negative. He's very the Lion Sword is incredible.
The Lion Sword looks prettier as well. It's a nicer looking sword, so and it's the one
what it's all about.
Yeah, so
he's got the Fusel
Actineus.
Yeah, so it's a plasma weapon.
18-inch range, strength 7, AP 3, assault 2, twin linked, blind,
rending 3+.
So he's already AP 3,
Yep.
so he's got a better weapon than Perturabo.
Yep.
Oh no, he's
It's less shots than Perturabo.
the rending 3+ makes it.
Yeah.
Perturabo is AP 3.
Yeah.
But I like comparing things to Perturabo because he always comes off worse. Nice.
Rending 3+ is good.
Yeah, Rent is really good.
Yeah.
So then we've got stasis grenades.
And I like this also, so I noticed there, it's a plasma weapon, but note this weapon benefits from the +1 to hit if he chooses to use the storming unit subtype. Why he would need that when he's ballistic skill 6 and never fires snapshots, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a rule that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Also, if you're not running the line in Deathwing, you're wrong.
Yeah. 100%. So he gets stasis grenades once per battle.
And so these used to be brutal. So in version 1, this meant you're always initiative 1 against it.
Yeah.
Now it's almost irrelevant.
Well, stasis grenades could go in every combi grenade launcher, right? So that's why all you Dark Angels players had loads of combi grenade launchers.
Yeah. So you'd fire a stasis grenade to reduce someone's initiative by 1,
Yeah.
whereas the stasis grenades that he had, the actual ones that you use in combat, are the ones that go, you're initiative 1 against me.
So you've got to take an initiative test. If the test is failed, all models in that unit get -1 for the duration.
Unless you're a Primarch, of course, who
Unless
can't be
you're
affected,
a But crucially, they've got to fail an initiative test for that to happen, and it's once a battle. It's a nice little pip on him, but it's not brilliant.
Yeah, it's a situational. I need to try and go before something. I will try it because it's once per battle. But it's still. I mean, that's not that. He's worth it without that. Like that's just an extra rule that he could use.
It's just a little pip on it.
Yeah, and then you've also got Point of the Blade, which I think is huge. He's kept this from version 1, which is that he can always choose to charge 8 inches instead of having to roll for it. Yeah. So if he's within 8 inches, he's getting in combat with you because he doesn't get slowed by terrain or anything, which is great.
So it's less good now that he gets +2, +1 to his charge range for being movement 8.
Yeah.
But
it ignores the effects of difficult and dangerous terrain, so you get the -2 for charging into terrain with it.
Yeah, there's so many times when you're just like 8 inches away from someone, 7, 6, whatever it is, just not having to roll dice and getting permanent results.
You just know I'm in.
He's just so good.
Yeah.
And then Sire of the Dark Angels.
Oh no, we missed that bit first. Lion's Collar. So when he gets wounded, he gets cross.
Oh.
So he gains attacks. The more wounds he takes, the more attacks he gets.
So at 4 wounds against +1, +2 when he takes when he's on 2 wounds or less.
Yeah.
Really good. So these then like 8 attacks, 9 attacks.
Yeah.
Which is really scary. I mean,
with the sword he's armed with as well. Yeah.
If he had Reaping Blow 7,
yeah,
I mean, he'd be even better.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. So we'll go on. We'll do the Sire of the Dark Angels. Anyone that can draw line of sight to him +1 leadership.
Yeah.
Extra reaction in the shooting phase rather than the assault phase.
Yeah.
So it's like the good Warlord trait.
Yeah, and everyone gains Crusader.
What does that do?
I'm not quite sure.
Is it one of them?
No, Crusader is +1 for the +1 on the combat resolution.
So not brilliant. Like it's.
To be fair, if he's in combat with you, you're not running away. You're dead. It's not the Crusader, but it helps everyone else out, I guess.
Yeah. It's good. The main thing of that is the +1 leadership.
Yeah, and well, the simple fact is, it's a Warlord trait on a Primarch, which we didn't have in version 1, so it's good in that.
Well, you always got the Sire rules. They've just made the Sire rule the Warlord trait.
Yeah.
And it's
+1 to leadership is good.
That's always good, especially.
And extra reaction is good.
Yeah. So how have you found because this is why we.
How have you
found it?
I've used him once on Monday, the first time, because I've never had a line painted to the level that I wanted to use him in a game. So I took him. He played against your first Love Imperial Fists on Monday night, where he went into combat and killed 3 Contemptor Dreadnoughts like that.
You didn't just run into a block of Phalanx Warders and Bounds?
There weren't any Phalanx Warders in this army.
So it was the mythical Fluffy.
He went in
because all the Phalanx Warders are on the Phalanx.
He killed 3 Contemptors and a Leviathan in 2 rounds of combat.
And I think if you've played Heresy 2 yet, you know how good that is.
Yeah. 24 wounds he caused across 3 Dreadnoughts.
So what you're telling me is for our game, don't
put a Dreadnought near him. Don't put a Dreadnought near him.
Yeah, that is our thoughts on the Dark Angels Legion, I think.
Yeah.
If you want to see the Lion in action, watch the game that we're just about to play, or already have watched it before you watch this.
Now this will make more sense.
Yeah. What just happened in that last game
was what happened in that book. Yeah,
exactly. So don't forget to check out Ben's channel if you were on my channel,
and if you're on my channel, check out Max's channel.
It's like we rehearsed it.
It's perfect.
It's going to be so professional.
It's very professional. Yeah. Seamless.
And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the videos that you are watching, and subscribe to the other persons as well.
Yeah.
It does help us both out. It tells us that you want more content like this. And we will catch you guys in the battle report.
Do you not need to do the thing on the hand where you go, I need you to click the like button?
Down near the crotches. Click the subscribe icon next to Ben's crotch, and we'll see you in the game.